Hello, everyone. Hello, hello. Welcome. Welcome to a very special night, the Blue Abroad Awards show. Very, very excited for tonight. It's going to be a lot of fun. A lot of fun. A bit of a piss take. Going to bring Dan up into the stream in a moment. And the idea of tonight is just to really recap the season and some of the best moments. Good evening, Dan.
You are live on the Big Brother house. Please do not swear.
What's happening, mate? End of the season. How you feeling that there's no footy?
It's a little bit sad, isn't it? Because we were treated to the game yesterday, the EJ Witten game, and that was horrific. So I'm kind of wanting me football back.
Absolutely, mate. Absolutely. Let's get right into it. It's been a long season. We've had ups, we've had downs. The reaction, mate, the video you made the other day, the compilation really, it taught me a few things. It taught me, first of all, how much work you put into this, which is amazing. It taught me how blindsided I was to how good I thought we were going to be. And it also taught me that my eyebrow lady, once I changed her in Australia, did the job that she needed to fucking do, mate.
That was probably the best thing that I have found out all year. So that's the 2019 highlight of the year for me.
Yeah, no, it was once I moved back to Australia, you could almost tell it was round 12 or round 12. You could tell she was actually taking stuff off from the bottom, whereas the girls in Israel were just leaving them thick because they liked them. So kudos to them.
You are. There's nothing more Jewish than bushy eyebrows, is there?
Absolutely, mate. All right, let's get stuck into it. So what we're going to do, we're going to go through every single award. Dan and I have also given our own awards out for certain players and certain things as well. And then we're going to go through all the awards that were voted by you guys. And thank you very much for the feedback, whether it was on Facebook or Instagram. It was a lot of comments and a lot of votes. So I appreciate that because it makes the decision a lot easier to make because you don't have to worry about picking the wrong choice. Although, Dan, I must say, rather than getting a thank you for creating videos, you got a few different suggestions, mate.
Well, I mean, the only thing I've learned through this process of nominating people is that Australians didn't pass maths because they've obviously created their own answer. But
yeah.
Apart from that, it was really good. I've enjoyed the messages as well. I've had quite a lot of private messages with people casting the votes. So thank you very much for that as well.
Yeah. Just while we've got the people here, we might as well just say good day to some of them. Sean Costello, some of our regulars all year. Kano Watt, Dane's
Big
here.
Dana.
Angelo Gravina, g'day to you, mate. John Stanford, thank you for your time on this Saturday afternoon, Saturday evening. Michael Dean, should be good. All right, so before we get started, Dan, give me a 1 minute summary on the Carlton experience in 2019.
Started really high. JLT was brilliant. I was there. I dropped $1,000 on Carlton to finish in the 8. Round 1 came. Soon realised after 4 games I'd just lost $1,000 and had to explain that to the wife. We got rid of We got rid of Bolton, got Teague, finished on a positive, and I'm going to drop another $1,000. I've got to drop $2,000 though now on us finishing the 8 because I need to make that money back.
Unbelievable. Okay, well, for me, it was. I just thought the season of the year couldn't have been anywhere near as bad as what it was last year, and I was really excited to play finals footy again. And I was humbled, but it probably took me a little longer. If there's one thing that happened to me this year, I grew up a lot in terms of understanding footy and where we were really at. Because for me, it took me until the St Kilda game to really know that Bolton wasn't the man for the job. In hindsight, what was I thinking? I should have seen this coming a lot earlier. But that's the optimist in me. And all of a sudden, I think Peter Vlahos has absolutely nailed this. Tale of two halves, literally. Tale of two halves. God knows what would have happened had we started the season like we did, from round 12 onwards. So I'm left with a bitter taste in my mouth. I know that we had a good second half of the year, but for me, at the end of the day, I'm watching finals footy next week. We're watching finals footy next week, and we're not playing. And that sucks. Like, that sucks. And so I just want us to all be happy about, what happened once Tiggy took over, but I also want us to be a little bit, harsh and ruthless, because we need to start winning games and playing finals again. So that's how I see it. Let's start with some of our awards. We're going to start with the moment of the year. And we did have some videos lined up, but unfortunately we can't play them through this show right now. But that's okay. We'll improvise. So my moment, actually, Dan, we'll start with you. What was your moment of the year? And if you are watching, please leave your moment of the year in the comments below and see if we can match up with what ours was. So, Dan, what was yours?
My moment of the year was Patrick Cripps's game in Tiggy's kind of change around of Carlton against Brisbane. Like, for me, best solo performance I've ever seen. Got me off my seat, and it was really, I thought, the turning point of Carlton. We saw a new Cripps, we saw a new Carlton, and we punished a team that is really where you would have thought we were about at the start of the season. So I love that moment. That was my favourite moment of all year.
No, it's a good one. It's a good one. If you're just joining us, welcome. We're going through our moment of the year. Please leave yours below. What was your favourite moment of the season? Whether it was during a game, whether it was after a game, let us know. My favourite moment of the year, I can't go past Mark Murphy's goal. I really can't. I remember watching it at home. I remember the ball going into the forward 50, and I remember Casbolt just holding onto the ball and having this ruthlessness and this relentlessness about him in wanting to make an impact. I remember Fisher tapping it on. And I remember the moment where, and if you actually go back and listen to the reaction video that my sister recorded, there's a moment where Fisher taps it on and I go, oh! And I kind of knew that Murph could kick the goal, because I knew once he jab stepped that he's got that inside-out banana in him. And that was something else. I think the whole day was something else. No Cripps, no Charlie. So for me, it was a great day, and I think that was a bit of that was probably the catalyst. Like, I mean, I know that we won our first game with Tiggy in charge against the Lions, but when we played that game against Freo, that gave us a real injection of confidence, didn't it?
Oh, it was a great day. I mean, no Kerner, the chips were down away, and we ended up winning. I mean, Dane will be happy because he's got 100% victory rate of watching Carlton, because he was at that game. So shout out to Dane Rawlins, all because of you, that mate.
Absolutely. All right. So those are our moments. Now oh God, I love these. So we're going to move on to the I was wrong moment of the I was wrong for Dan and for myself. Dan, let's start with you, mate. Let's start with what were you wrong about? Let's own it, because I think the premise of this is you put yourself out there when you go on video, when you give your opinion. And you and I know very well that we don't like to take ourselves too seriously. I think that's why our videos are pretty decent. So it's important, because we all put our opinions out there, and for whatever reason we don't like owning up to them. But that's what we're going to do. And I want everyone to join in as well. What were you wrong about in 2019, Dan?
Well, it was hard to pick two, to be fair, when I went through all our videos. So I've actually got two. So first one is McGovern. I famously, if you watch our highlight video, I said I'd rather have you and me play 40 minutes than McGovern. And then he went out the next week and had his best game he's ever had. So I'd like to put my hands up for that. I was totally wrong about McGovern. Said he was stealing a wage, and he proved what he was about the week after. And I'd say the big one was Canelio coming.
I'm glad you mentioned it.
the elephant in the room. Like, I have mentioned that a hell of a lot, and he's at GWS. So I was wrong. Cornelius a giant.
Mate, can I just say, I'm not kidding. I think I received, and if I had to give it a real solid estimate, I received 19 messages, whether it was on the page, whether it was personally referring to you, whether it was a tweet. How's Dan? What's Dan doing? What about Coggy? Um, but that's okay, mate. You've owned it, and that's the main thing.
Oh, I don't mind admitting, I cried a little bit when I saw that tweet when he said he was staying. Like, it actually broke me as a person. So I've learned my lesson. I won't get excited by anyone anymore.
I would love to put a compilation together. I don't know if we can do this. Maybe we can have like a more broad, uncut channel of all the voice messages that have come between you and I, and there's quite a bit of vitriol in there.
Oh, well, trust me, I think the amount of threats I've made on Cornelio's life in the last week would see me in prison for a couple of weeks.
All right, my turn. Very much like Dan, I got a lot of things wrong this year. Starting, as I just mentioned before, with Brendan Bolton and wanting to keep him on. But without a doubt, for me, I think the biggest I was wrong moment, or just theme of the year, would have to be after round 4, we played the Gold Coast Suns, and I had a few choice words for Lockie Plowman. I called him a fucking fraud with a lot of passion, and I still. And to this day, I hear about it a lot. People remind me of it a lot. But yeah, I was completely wrong about Lockie Plowman. He's not a fraud. He's a solid footballer. He had a pretty good second half of the season. And Lockie, I'm sure you're watching, because I'm sure that's what you want to be doing yourself on a Saturday night. I'm sorry, mate. I was wrong. So yeah.
That was literally one of my best moments of the year. Like,
what, the Lockie Plowman?
Oh, when you asked me to do my first ever video for the channel, that's what sold me. That I was involved in this. That was so good.
Oh gosh! All right, so the I was wrong. Now we're going to flip it around. We're going to flip it around and say I was right, or we have a moment to gloat. What was the one thing that you said early in the year or throughout the year that you maybe copped a bit of shit from, which ended up being correct? So Dan, start with you, mate.
Well, I said that Wheaterin would be our most improved player and would be dominant. I got a lot of abuse for this in the Carlton pages. My personal favourite being a guy, I've saved it, a guy called Zano, who told me he's a hack, and Davis Unanaki is twice the footballer as him and Dow. And he went on another good year, so I'm quite proud of that. My boy Jacob, he might sleep with the light on and be a mummy's boy, but he's a pretty solid key defender. So shout out to you.
Absolutely, well done, Zano. My gloat it's got to be Murph, because I spoke about him in a podcast early in the season before JLT won with Lippy, one of my best mates from Israel. And I said that he could win the best and fairest. I said that he was going to have a really good year, and I said that he would like the captaincy would be relinquished, and it would free up his mind. By the way, if you had a call as well, please put it in the comments. What do you want to gloat about? This is your chance right now. Let us know something that you said was going to happen and ended up happening that you were right about. But yeah, I said Murphy without the captaincy would really relinquish. Dropped a bit of shit from it. Emilio, if you're watching, I'm talking to you, mate. He's like, no way, he's done. A lot of people said Murphy was finished and he had nothing left to give after this season. I think he's still got 3, maybe 4 years left. So I'm happy with Murph's finish to the season. and I'm looking forward to a really big year from him next year.
Oh, definitely. He's been phenomenal this year. Like we both love Mark Murphy. This is a very pro Mark Murphy fan channel, and every goal he's kicked, it's been quite nice because there is a lot of you out there who have slated Mark Murphy. So it's great to see Mark Murphy doing well.
Love it. Stephen Reitman, Gibbons, had someone tell me he's a seconds player, $10 per game, then doubled per goal. Wow.
Well, I'll tell
Wow.
you what, he's an idiot who bet you that.
Yeah. Dane said that Carlton would win 7 games and that Harry would win the goal kicking. Well done to you, Dane.
Well done, Dane.
Angelo was right. Give Wiedering time to be the footballer he can be. Top 5 BNF. Lock it in. Oh, I don't know if we're letting locks in, but it's the awards show, so we can let whatever go in. But
we've never known anyone lock something on this show.
Who would use the lock? I tell you what. Ryan, welcome to you, mate. You got right. What you got right? Your boy, the Halls Creek Cowboy SPS, will have a cracking year. Finished top 5 in the BNF. Geez, I copped it at the time. I love those ones. I love those.
To be fair, Ryan's got a comment here. Now, last night, me and Ryan had a few wines and got on the Carlton Facebook groups and had a bit of a laugh.
God,
and he's asked the question, can someone answer me the question, is Ollie Wines' head in the Guinness Book of Records as the largest bonds? Yeah, probably. Based on your Photoshop attempt, massive head. So,
David was right about Bolton. Abe says that Sauce must have heard stuff about Adelaide in order to swap the future first-round picks. Blake said DeLuca has a lot of doubters, but I like him. Yeah, DeLuca was an interesting one where people say that he was not AFL standard. And he goes on to kick a clutch goal that very week, win us the game. So yeah, I mean that's the beauty of it. There's a lot of unknown. It's good to enjoy. It's good to enjoy what you got right, and it's also important that you acknowledge what you got wrong. John did know Simo would sign on a lot, saying that he wouldn't. Well, people, I'm spot on. Good on you, John. John knows his Carlton legends, and he got that one right. So that's he's one of the best. One of the best. Carlton fan royalty. Right, moving along. Now, I know that most of you watching have probably already given your votes for this, but we're going to go through my most improved player and Dan's most improved player for 2019. So if you haven't voted or if you have voted, just let us know in the comments who is your most improved player in 2019. For me, it's Levi. When I look at most improved, I look at the difference between, where they were and where they are. And I think Levi has that biggest difference. The guy was, in round 3, the guy was gone, finished from our memories. For a lot of us, maybe not everyone. I certainly was, and maybe there's another one that I was wrong about, Levi. But I thought what he was able to do, I didn't know he could be a defender, and the ability to not only be a serviceable defender, but a great defender is fantastic. So well done to Levi. He's my most improved player. Dan, what about you?
I went with SPS on this one.
Okay.
Me and Ryan actually did have a conversation about where's his best position. And we both said we thought he was like a Chris Yarran off halfback.
Yep.
Well, we've seen that this year on him on the halfback flank. He takes the game on, got a good kick. And I was super proud of him. So I think he's my most improved player.
Very nice. Very nice. Got a few more comments coming through. Anthony says that Lockie O'Brien was copying a lot and came good in the second half. I stuck with him. Osolo, Garland and Lang haven't done much. I thought they'd improve. Craig came 8. I was wrong about Ed Kerno. He's a gun. I'm quoted for calling him a chop. Nice. Very nice.
Done. Well done. He takes balls.
Yeah, well done. Well done. Peter Vlahos thinks Jack Silvani. Angelo Gravina says Sam Petrescu-Seaton. Blake says Samo and Levi, Ty, Robbie. Good evening, gents. I was right. Daisy would add huge value. I was wrong. Garland, I thought he'd become the small forward we needed. Very nice, Robbie. way to own up to it, mate. For those of you who haven't owned up yet, get in there and cop it on the chin. Chris Walsh has to be Levi. Anthony Walsh, Setterfield as an improved player. Okay, I can officially announce to you. Dan, do you want to announce, mate, who was the most improved player?
Well, this guy is a man I love. So I was super happy for him. JSOS was our most improved player as voted by the lovely members of Blue Abroad.
Yep. So well done to Jack Silvani. We will have a great tribute video. We've got a tribute video for all the winners that we were going to try and show today, but the quality wasn't great, so we don't want to ruin the quality of the video. But Jack Silvani was voted the most improved player by all of our fans. So well done to Jack. That's a pretty good one. The next one that we've got is Goal of the Year 2019. So this was I wouldn't say it was a tight one. There were a few awards that were not very tight. They were pretty unanimous. You can probably pick the ones that were. But yeah, Goal of the Year this year was my favourite moment of the year. It was Mark Murphy's goal against Freo. I think for obvious reasons. The context of the game, Cripps, away, Sunday evening, knowing that the previous game before that was the GWS away game on a Sunday. So, yeah, well done to Mark Murphy. I'm sure this is an award that you'll take with you for the rest of your life, and you'll think about it when you retire one day, and you'll tell your kids about it.
Could be.
Yeah, so that's that. We'll move on to Mark of the Year. So, Dan, I'll let you do this one. Mark of the Year 2019.
I thought this was a little bit of a controversial one because the guy that I picked, Liam Jones, finished second, and then Daisy publicly voted for himself, and he's won by a landslide. So,
yeah, let me just clarify that. So, Daisy came late. Daisy commented on the Instagram post he voted for himself, which was nice of him. So, Daisy, thank you, mate. But once Daisy voted for himself, people started seeing it and started voting for him as well. So that's that. Dan, continue, mate.
It was a good mark, to be fair, one-handed on the top of someone. But for me, yeah, well done, Daisy. I'll give you that. Well played. Well played. It's kind of the benchmark. If you want to win the Blue Abroad Award next year, just comment on our Insta, you'll win.
Basically, we're looking for any attention we can get, mate. Oh gosh! All right. Next on the agenda is the best new player to Carlton in 2019. So I'll give a bit of a chat about this one. So for you, again, put it in the comments below. Who was the best first year player at Carlton? So whether they were a rookie, a draftee, or whether they were a trade recruit, who was the best? Who had the best? Who was our best new player? So there was actually, this was a very tough one to give out because so many guys were relevant for so many different reasons. I mean, obviously, Walshy being having the year that he did as a draftee, Nick Newman had a phenomenal year. Will Setterfield was up there. He had a pretty good year as well for a new guy coming off the knee as well. I mean, we don't even talk about the knee anymore by the end of the season, which is fantastic. Gibbons as well, coming from the VFL, finally getting his chance. So he was up there, but there could only be one winner. So the best player, we are proud to announce, the best player for 2019 as voted by you guys was Sam Walsh. And, I mean, a deserving winner. He was phenomenal. He's just won the Rising Star Award, and we're looking forward to seeing what else he's going to be able to do in the navy blue. And I think with that, the reason, we've given a lot of awards out, and there's another one to come as well, which is the main one, the Player of the Year. But we want to give a special shout-out to a guy who is not going to win an award tonight, but I think he really he should get an acknowledgement. And that's Nick Newman. I think maybe, Dan, you want to have some words for Nick Newman.
Well, we created an award just for him. Blue Abroad Recruit of the Year. So that shows how good he is. I mean, for me, I thought when you look at the All Australian team, if anyone remembers the POM Australian team, Nick Newman lined up on halfback, I rated him above Nick Hines. So for me, I think he was our best recruit of the year. But Walsh did have a phenomenal year, so it's hard to go against him. But for me, Newman deserves an award. We created something, recruit of the year, and he should have been in the All Australian team for me.
Yep. Love it. Love it. No, he had a fantastic year, and very proud of him. So we're going to move on to Player of the Year. So this is, I guess you could say, this is probably as big of an award, after the best and fairest that a player could possibly want. So what we're going to do is we're going to go through who I nominated for Player of the Year, Blue Abroad Player of the Year, and then who Dan nominated for Player of the Year, and then we're going to finish the show with your Player of the Year that you voted for in 2019. So I'll start with me. I voted for, and I guess everyone's criteria is a little bit different. We didn't really set criteria because I don't think it's relevant. Just whatever you feel is right, go for it. And please leave your vote in the comments below who you think was our best Player of the Year. If you want to call it the best and fairest, you can. Who was yours? For me, it was. I'm going to give kudos to Sam Walsh. I voted for him. Not anything against Cripper, who was fantastic, and he's going to go on to win. He won the MVP. He could win a Brownlow. We don't know yet. But I just think the consistency that Sam Walsh showed for you look at what we did last year and the team that we had, the young kids that came in and they struggled and they couldn't really hold it together and play consistent footy. And you look at this kid that's come in at 18 years of age. He only dipped under 20 possessions 3 times, and I don't think he ever went below 18 or 17 for a game. And he was just super. I think he started really coming into himself and feeling confident probably after maybe 2/3 of the season. And I can't wait to see when he feels like he's just part of the Carlton fraternity and he's a Carlton man, and when people come in, they've got to report to Sam Walsh. I'm really looking forward to that because he can have all the accolades he wants. Kid's super humble, super consistent, and I thought even we did miss Cripps in a few games because he was injured. He also had a few games where he was tagged out of games. I thought the really poor games like the GWS game, I thought Sam Walsh continued to play really well. And yeah, for reasons of that I've just mentioned, I voted for Sam Walsh. So he was my Player of the Year. Dan, what about you, mate?
I went with, and you'll love this, I went with Mark Murphy.
Love it.
So I thought Mark Murphy stood down as captain and he led by example as part of the leadership group. I think the Fremantle game was the turning point for Mark Murphy, and he popped up every time we needed him, went back on the ball, did the simple stuff right. And for me, I just think he's a guy that has this horrible record as a captain. When he retires, we need to remember this guy could have gone anywhere. When he was pick one, he could have requested a trade, gone to a successful club. This guy is a legend for me, legend of football, not just AFL. And I think this year he showed that every step of the way. Big shout out to Matt Murphy.
Yeah, it's he's copped a lot of shit from the supporters. He was probably one that like I said, I was right because people just forget that he won the best and fairest in 2017. 2016, he was cruelled by injury. He had the syndesmosis injury. 2018, he didn't play. I think he played 13 games, another year gone with injury. And people had this idea in their head that he had never put his body on the line, that he hadn't played good footy for 3 years. And it was mind-boggling that he was copping so much criticism. Why doesn't he put his head over the ball? Why doesn't he put his body on the line? And, mate, I'll reel you off some collisions that he's actually been involved in and come off second best for the club. 2012, the Dangerfield shatters his collarbone. 2013, 2014, the collision with Luke Hodge shatters his cheekbone, comes back and plays a few weeks later with the helmet on. There was a game against Melbourne where he went in for a tackle and cracked his scapula. There was another moment with Dangerfield when he did his syndesmosis injury. It was a collision with Dangerfield who fell onto his ankle. And for some reason, we forget that. And then you look at this year, he's asked to play a role that he's never played, going away from his instincts. And he didn't complain, not one quote, not one whisker of complaining. He just went about his business, whatever the team needs. And for some reason, we didn't appreciate that. So I hope people who did criticise Murph change their tune a little bit on him. And hopefully I hope he's elevated into that same status that Simo's elevated himself into, a real club champion. Because Murph was an MVP of this league in 2011. He was voted by the players as the best player in the league, most valuable player. So
you've got to remember, he was the favourite to win the Brownlow that year by round 7, and then he injured his shoulder, like you say, round 8 against Danger. Like, this guy's a touch of class. He's had options to leave this club, and he's stayed every time. And credit to him. Like, legend of the game.
Yep. All right, so to finish off, we're going to go for the Player of the Year as voted by you, the audience. And thank you very much for everyone who did vote and got amongst it. Obviously when you do something like this for the first time, you don't really know how it's going to be received. But the amount of comments, the amount of votes that actually went in was quite impressive. I must say, more so on Instagram. I didn't know that Instagram was as big a platform for engagement as what it was. But nevertheless, no surprise, the Blue Abroad Player of the Year for 2019 is Patrick Cripps. Absolutely. And, a well-deserved winner. I think Dan and I have probably tried to highlight some other people because we know Cripps he's just so good, what he does for the club. The loyalty, even some of the quotes he's made about, taking pay cuts and when people sort of nudge him and prod him about playing elsewhere and winning premierships, he always refers to the fact that he only won a certain amount of games in his first 100, or I think it's 22 or 23. And, he's like, I'd much rather be part of a winning club. Now, that's just setting the example for everyone else. And that's why we love him. So well done to Patrick Cripps. And that's that. So I want to take this chance. It's not like we're finishing for the year, but I want to take this chance to thank a few people. Dan, I'm going to start with you, mate, because you and I connected just I guess through Blue Abroad, and that probably goes to show the community that's been built here. I first came in contact with you when you were commenting on videos and liking videos, and when there were 4 people watching them, you were one of them. The 3 were my mum, my sister, and my dad. But no, you've been great, mate. I really appreciate you coming on board. The work you put in is very much appreciated. I'm sure everyone in the audience can agree. So thank you. And to everyone else who's contributed, whether it's, I think, like I said, the community that's being built here is the most important thing here, because we live in a time where, there's forums and there's groups and things can get toxic, especially when things aren't going so well. But to have built something here where there's quite a bit of positivity, it's not blind positivity because we still have a crack at players. I think what we've been able to build here through the people here is really special. And I'm looking forward to next year and beyond, because there's going to be a lot of additions coming. And, we're really looking forward to it. I feel humbled to be, part of this whole thing. Things like Lockie, for example, who sent me the logo the other day. He just did that out of his own goodwill. People approaching who want to help. We love that. And we're going to get more of that involved. So thank you, guys. There is no Blue Abroad without the audience. That's for sure. And we're looking forward to Trade Week, because we're going to ramp it up. We're going to be doing daily lives during Trade Week to make sure that we're up to date with all the news. And so we'll have more news on that. But yeah, I just wanted to get that out. I'm mumbling a little bit. Dan, anything from you, mate, before we wrap up?
More of the same for me. Like this group brought you and me together, and the feedback since I've joined round 12 from the fans has been great, and it's great to find people that want to discuss Carlton in a happy, positive way. We don't always agree, but we're always friendly when we do. And I think that's only beneficial for when we do reach the top, that we can all get on and share our thoughts in a safe environment. So kudos to the Blue Abroad fan base for being great all year.
Absolutely. All right. Well, with that, time to ramp up and go to the after party. Looking forward to finals. Looking forward to watching some of our trade targets. Looking forward to trade week. Don't get too caught up in silly season. We'll have quite a few more shows coming up in the coming weeks. But we really wanted to just recap the year that's been and allow you guys to have your voice as always. Enjoy your night. Enjoy your weekend, and go the Mighty Blue Boys.